library friends, it's Miss Kelly from Youth Services, and I'm here today on Instagram for Miss Kelly's Book Talk. Woohoo! All right, so this is our first episode. I'm here to talk with you about some of the books that I've been reading while I've been sheltering in place for the last few months. It's been very sad. I haven't had anyone to talk to about these books, and so I've decided to share my thoughts about all of the things I've been reading with you. So, first off, I just thought we would start with some of the books that reminded me the most of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, and the Big Nate books, because we do get asked a lot for read-alikes for those, and I find Diary of a Wimpy Kid incredibly funny, so I'm always on the lookout for some read-alikes of those as well. So let's get started with the first one that I found. First up is Max and the Midnights. Alrighty, so Max and the Midnights is by Lincoln Pierce. He's the same guy that did the Big Nate series, so if you like those comics and those chapter books, you're probably going to like this one. So Max and the Midnights takes place in the Middle Ages, and as Max describes it, it's a time period with no toothbrushes, no indoor plumbing, and no internet. It stinks to be a kid in the Middle Ages, especially when you want to be a knight and you're stuck as an apprentice to a troubadour. Even if that troubadour is your uncle that you love, but, well, poor Uncle Bodrick just isn't that great of a troubadour. So a troubadour is sort of like a singing and dancing entertainer. Unfortunately, Uncle Bodrick can't sing, can't dance, and isn't very funny. So they're not getting a whole lot of jobs right now. So they decide that instead of continuing to tour the countryside and spend nights in farmlands, that they are going to go to the kingdom of Bijovia, where Uncle Bodrick was born and raised, which he escaped because he didn't want to be a knight, he wanted to be a performer. Max thinks he's crazy. So they go to Bijovia, where the good King Cedric reigns, except no, he doesn't. Not anymore. The kingdom has been overtaken by the evil King Ghastly, and he has made all sorts of awful changes. The people are acting weird. Kids aren't allowed to make noise in the streets. The people are acting weird. There's just violence in the streets. People aren't being kind to one another like they were when King Cedric was the king. And what is the deal with not liking kids anymore? It's really bizarre. So, Max teams up with a bunch of misfits, and they become Max and the Midnights, and they go forth to save Uncle Bodrick, who's been captured by the evil King Ghastly, because poor Uncle Bodrick just has no luck, and the wizard Mumblin, who is an older wizard who may not be as great of a wizard as he used to be. So they team up together in order to save the kingdom, save Uncle Baldrick, and have the adventure of a lifetime. So, if any of that sounds interesting, I would highly suggest that you check it out. It is also one of the blue stems for this year, so if you guys are doing any of the Battle of the Books in this upcoming year, it's an easy one to read. It reads just like one of the Diary of a Wimpy Kids or Big Nates, in that it is a chapter book with illustration, paragraph, illustrations, paragraph. Very fun. Highly recommended. I give it 3 out of 5 knight in shining armors. Max and the Midnights is available on the Libby app for your mobile devices and on Overdrive for your computer. Be sure to check it out today. Next up on our list of books that Miss Kelly read while sheltering in place is a book called Timmy Failure, Mistakes Were Made. And it is the first book in a series. And I've only read the first one so far, but I loved it. It was so incredibly funny. Multiple times I was reading it and I had to stop because I was laughing so hard that my dogs were giving me strange looks. And my family thought that I had lost my mind from being at home for so long. So it is very Diary of a Wimpy Kid-esque in that it is in an actual sort of like a journal, and the art styles are very similar. However, the humor is a little bit more subtle, and I enjoyed that tremendously. So, without any further ado, let's get into the plot. So, Timmy Failure is a kid detective who longs to be a great private eye with his own consulting firm and everything, but currently is stuck working out of his mother's garage with the help of his pet polar bear. Yeah, that's right. I said pet polar bear. I'm not joking. This kid has a pet polar bear. Not only does he have a pet polar bear, he has a pet polar bear as a detective's assistant. So the two of them go around solving mysteries in their town to varying levels of success. I mean, the guy's last name is Failure after all. Though he would tell you that Failure is actually a French last name and it's pronounced Failure. One of the mysteries that we see Timmy solve is the case of missing Halloween chocolate. So Timmy and his polar bear head on over to this young boy's house whose Halloween candy has gone missing. The polar bear walks. Timmy takes his mother's Segway from the garage. And he totally borrowed it with permission. So, the polar bear, of course, beats him there because the Segway is slow, but it leaves an impression. Very professional. So, he gets there and is told that the Halloween candy was there in the bucket last night. This morning, it's all gone. Kid has no idea where it went. Timmy is on the case. He thinks that it's going to take a lot of time to figure out what happened to it, so he's asking for free food. He wants to make sure that he gets travel reimbursements because he may have to go out of state to figure out what happened to this missing Halloween candy. I mean, isn't that what all detectives need? Right? It's a really hard case to solve. It couldn't possibly be the kid's little brother who's sitting in his room with his mouth all smeared with chocolate. Timmy made sure to investigate that one right away. Asked the kid where he had been that previous night. The child had been in his room the whole night. Nothing suspicious there. He just really likes chocolate. Obviously, Timmy is a great detective. However, there is a rival in his school for the detective work in his small town. She who must not be named. She is the daughter of a very wealthy businessman and has much greater connections than he does, so the two of them fight out one another for jobs around the town. So what happens next? You guys are going to have to be the ones to read and find out for yourselves, and then let me know what you think of it, because I really, really liked this one. So, something else to keep in mind is that this one was made into a movie recently and released on Disney+. So if you have access to that, feel free to check it out and then let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, because I haven't watched it yet. But I'm hesitant too because I really, really liked the book and I don't want to ruin it. So I'll trust your guys' good opinion and take your advice. So this one, Timmy Failure, is available on our Overdrive and Libby apps as well. I highly suggest checking it out. I give this one 4 polar bears out of 5. All right, so last but certainly not least in this list of Diary of a Wimpy Kid read-alikes that I read whilst in solitude here, sheltering in place, all alone with no one to talk to, is The Terrible Two. Now, this is the first in a series. So ridiculously funny that, again, one of those ones where you have to like stop, take a minute, breathe, laugh your guts out, and then continue on reading. So funny. Again, another one of those you read it and your family gives you weird looks because they think you've lost your mind and you're laughing at the air. So in this one, Miles Murphy has moved to the town of Yawny Valley. very exciting. They are most commonly known for, and proudly, in their opinion, known for, their cows. So along the way, you will learn many cow facts, some of which will actually be important to the plot. Shh, don't tell anyone I told you that. All right, so Miles Murphy is a notorious prankster. He was very, very good at it at his old school, and he is determined that in his new school in Yanni Valley, he is going to be the best prankster there ever was. So famous, so popular, he will go down in history as the best prankster ever. However, on the first day of school, someone has already come up with a great prank. They've parked the principal's car right in the center of the school entrance. No one can get in. Wow, what a great prank. Miles has no idea who did it, and he has no idea how to top it. So what's a guy to do next? How does one top such a great prank? And who was that mysterious prankster? It couldn't possibly be that sweet kid, Niles, who smiles creepily all the time and is on such good terms with Principal Barkin. No, it couldn't be him, and it couldn't be Principal Barkin's kid, Josh. He's determined to be the next principal, even if he is a big bully. And it couldn't be Holly. She's too serious and determined to become the next class president. Who in the world could be a prankster great enough to match the great Miles Murphy? The mystery. And who is sending all of these mysterious messages with rubber chickens? Seriously. So who is this great prankster? Will they team up together to create the world's greatest prank yet? Will they become the Terrible Two, or will they be forever entrenched in a great prank battle that will take over the entire school? You will have to read on to find out. But know that some of the pranks in this book are shocking and terribly funny. I give The Terrible Two 5 secret message rubber chickens out of 5. This book can be found on both Hoopla and Overdrive/Libby. So I highly suggest checking it out. This series is incredibly funny. Okay, library friends, thank you so much for joining me here on Instagram for our very first book talk with Miss Kelly. I hope you guys enjoyed it, found a couple of new books to try out. Please let me know if you've read any of these books before, or if you're planning on reading them in the comments below. I will be sure to read every single one. I am terribly lonely and would love to talk about books with someone. Keep in mind that while we do have physical copies of these books available at the library for curbside pickup, it may be easier for you just to try one of our 2 library apps. We have many more, but these are the 2 that I love the most. So Libby is one of the apps, and the next one is called Hoopla. These are both apps that you can use on your smartphone or your tablet to check out library materials directly to your device. So you can read these from the comfort of your home with little to no wait time. So without further ado, have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!